It's my pleasure to welcome each of you to the Houston Methodist Hospital Service Awards. Normally, we'd gather together to have lunch and celebrate with our employees and their supervisors. However, 2020 has forced us to change much of the way we live. But we could not let this occasion go. It's important that we celebrate longtime employees, and we weren't going to let a pandemic stop us from doing so. Our hope is that even though we couldn't gather to celebrate and have a meal together, that you're still enjoying a meal as you watch this celebration on video. With that in mind, we'll have an invocation next by Reverend Charles Millikan, Vice President for Spiritual Care and Values Integration, followed by some words from our Chair of the Board of Directors, Greg Nelson, and by Dr. Rob Phillips representing our medical staff, and Roberta Schwartz representing the executive leadership team.
Let us pray. Our most gracious and loving God, we stand on foundations we did not build. We drink from wells we did not dig. We find ourselves today benefiting from the work of all those who have gone before us. As we celebrate our workday anniversaries, we marvel at the opportunities that have been ours in being a part of a healthcare ministry that dates back over 100 years. We represent more than ourselves. We are all in a healthcare ministry that is truly transformative when it comes to ways and means in getting through this pandemic. This is our day. This is our time. We are each called to move healthcare to yet a new frontier, one that calls for wellness over illness, good health practices over circumstances, the dismantling of social determinants of health to a lifestyle filled with hope, a time when every person has the opportunity to have a medical home outside of emergency departments and to hail diversity, equity, and inclusion as a right and not a privilege. As your people, O Lord, we look to you to guide and direct us as we accept the role we each have in making a difference. As your Spirit guides us, we will follow, knowing full well that knowledge and vital piety do go together, along with the sound practice of science and theology being united to create a new world with new frontiers that brings out the best in who we are and the best care ever in serving those who look to us for their healthcare needs. Bless each person who is celebrating their workday anniversary today. May each know how truly special they are and what they bring to this healthcare ministry we call Houston Methodist. For we pray this prayer in your holy name. Amen.
On behalf of the Board of Directors of Houston Methodist, I'm here to congratulate you for your 2020 service anniversary. Under better circumstances, we'd be gathered in person to celebrate you. Unfortunately, that's not possible this year. We've all had to adapt and change as a result of COVID-19. But as much as things have changed, one thing that hasn't is the caliber of employees we're blessed to have working with us at Houston Methodist. And our patients are blessed too. They come to us at their time of need, some of them in their most desperate hours. But regardless of who they are, you treat each of them as a person of sacred worth and value. Your efforts on the front lines are always extraordinary as you strive to be unparalleled. But this year was more demanding. Every one of you has had to dig deeper this year as healthcare workers around the world have been called to fight COVID-19. Your continued commitment to our patients has been remarkable, especially during these challenging times. We're also grateful to you for choosing to work at Houston Methodist Hospital. You have made Houston Methodist the #1 hospital in Texas and a member of the National Honor Roll of hospitals. And while many things have changed over the years you've worked here, one thing that hasn't changed and won't ever change is our commitment to offer patients the best possible care in a spiritual environment of healing. Not only do you provide our patients with the best safety and quality possible, you also create and build up our unique culture. You embrace our eye care values on a daily basis and make this a special place. You carry our culture forward. You model our eye care values for the next generation of your Houston Methodist colleagues. And so regardless of whether you're a nurse, a lab technician, or you work in maintenance, or in the pharmacy, or you work in accounting, you play a critical role in our success and in our patients' lives. On behalf of the Board of Directors of Houston Methodist, I want to thank you for your service. You are doing a great job, and I look forward to seeing you in 5 years for your next Service Award celebration. Thank you and congratulations. I am honored to serve with you at Houston Methodist.
It's a pleasure to take part in this event as we gather to honor employees celebrating a service anniversary with Houston Methodist. On behalf of our medical staff, I'd like to congratulate you on your long tenure with Houston Methodist. Our long-term employees are the backbone of our hospitals. This year, you've helped set an example as we work together to combat COVID-19. Thanks to your dedication, we've been able to cope with this pandemic. You are the ones that new physicians and employees count on when they come to Houston Methodist. But this year, more than ever, we've needed your experience and leadership. You set the example that everyone follows. Thanks to you, we are able to offer patients the best care in a spiritual environment of healing even during this pandemic. Your hard work and effort also allows us to continue leading medicine. It's during your tenure that Houston Methodist has grown from an excellent local hospital in the Texas Medical Center to a world-class 8-hospital healthcare system that provides outstanding and compassionate care to patients throughout Houston. I am fortunate to work with some of the most dedicated, most compassionate staff in healthcare. Your commitment to our patients and our eye care values enables all of us to successfully carry out our mission to deliver unparalleled safety, quality, service, and innovation to our patients. This has been one of our most challenging years in our more than 100-year history, and unfortunately, it's not over. But I'm 100% confident that working together, we will get through this. We will look back at 2020 and remember it as the year we battled COVID-19 together and made a difference for thousands of patients. We have some of the very best healthcare professionals in the world working at Houston Methodist, and that includes all of you. Thank you for your long service. Our physicians appreciate you.
I want to thank both Mr. Greg Nelson, representing our Board of Directors, and Dr. Rob Phillips, representing the medical staff, for their support as we gather to honor our employees celebrating their 40th, 45th, and 50th anniversaries at Houston Methodist Hospital, the Houston Methodist Specialty Physician Group, Houston Methodist Sugar Land, and our corporate division. We normally celebrate these service awards each year in the ballroom of the Marriott TMC, recognizing the employees based at or managed from our TMC entities, which include Houston Methodist Academic Institute and Houston Methodist Global. This year, 1,011 employees in these entities are celebrating their 5th anniversary. We also have another 330 celebrating their 10th anniversary. We have 168 employees celebrating their 15th anniversary. Another 92 are celebrating their 20th anniversary. We have 47 celebrating their 25th anniversary, and 69 celebrating their 30th anniversary. 22 are celebrating their 35th anniversary. Today, we honor 55 of you as you celebrate your 40th anniversary. 10 of you are celebrating your 45th anniversary, and 3 of you are celebrating 50 years of service to Houston Methodist. In total, 3,419 employees will be honored across our system this year. Whether you work at the bedside in a clinic, in a lab, or in an office, your hard work is critical in our healing mission. You're an inspiration to our newer employees who count on you for guidance and direction. Each of you has paved the way so that we can be unparalleled in safety, quality, service, and innovation. It's safe to say we wouldn't be here without you. Thank you so much. And now, let's join Dr. Boom as he takes us back in time and shares some personal stories about our honorees who have given so much of their lives to Houston Methodist.
Thank you, Roberta. You know, to me, long-tenured employees are one of the secret elements of why Houston Methodist is so incredibly effective. And it's never been more important than here in 2020. 2020 obviously has been a really challenging year for everybody. I have no doubt when we look back at our history as an institution, we're going to look back, both in saying, oh my goodness, we all survived through that horrendous year. We're also going to look back with a lot of pride at what was accomplished. And it's going to be the kind of year that our, successors tell stories about. Just as we tell stories about 1919, the year we were founded in the midst of the Spanish flu pandemic. I'm so proud of each of you. I'm so proud of what those employees and team members who've been here for a long time have accomplished together. I mean, I really believe if we look around the country, you'd be hard-pressed to find another institution that has navigated through these incredibly difficult waters better than Houston Methodist. Whether it was everybody early on just putting aside their personal lives and doing what it took to care for patients, thinking we got through one surge and then realizing we had a whole nother surge to get through that was far worse. Whether it was the people in the research institute and our academic institute who enabled our institution to be at the forefront of medical trial after medical trial after medical trial, our clinicians on the front lines compassionately caring for these patients who are so sick and in so much need, or the people, behind the scenes, working from home, working in our labor pool, etc., just doing what it takes to get us through this. And then a little thing called a hurricane that came by, thank goodness, passed us by, but nonetheless, something we knew we were ready for. And we have a history of doing this throughout the many decades of our existence, in fact, now over a century of our existence. And I just want to say thank you again to each of you as we celebrate today. Those people who've been here a while, who know the institution, know our values. You have led the way. You have shined in ways that just are awe-inspiring and humbling. So God bless each of you, and thank you for doing that. We're now going to honor those employees celebrating 40, 45, and 50 years at Houston Methodist. You've each helped shape this institution into what it is today, and you've all left your mark on Houston Methodist. And now we want to go back to 1980. In Houston Methodist history, Scurlock Tower is dedicated in October of that year. The 21-story building marks the end of a major construction project that added 5 buildings to Methodist Hospital in the Texas Medical Center. In national news, Mount St. Helens erupted in Washington state, destroying, unfortunately, miles of wilderness. Ash from the volcano was blasted across 11 neighboring states. In sports, the United States hockey team defeated the Soviet Union in the Miracle on Ice. That team would go on to defeat Finland for the gold medal at the 1980 Winter Olympics. And in entertainment, millions tuned in to find out who shot JR on Dallas. That episode is still the second most watched broadcast show in television history. Now let's recognize our 40-year honorees. We'll begin with Toni Wyckoff Adams. Toni is a medical lab tech in the microbiology lab, where she's been loyal from the time she started with Houston Methodist. She says her work has always been interesting, and she enjoys the myriad of tests that she performs. She especially loves the camaraderie she shares with her family of coworkers. Toni says watching the Dunn Tower, Walter Tower, and Outpatient Center go up are the biggest changes she's seen so far. Seeing faces that have been here as long as she has is a reminder to Toni about why this is a great place to work. She says consistency and stability speak volumes, Tony applied to Houston Methodist because a friend of hers was applying and needed a ride. She got the job, but her friend didn't. Tony cherishes that she's gotten married, had both of her kids here, and met many dear friends while working here. Thank you, Tony, for your loyalty. Anita Ami. Anita is an outpatient access representative in outpatient rehabilitation. She began her career as a physical therapy aide in the hydro unit in the main building. She says working in hydro was fascinating and educational, and working with post-op orthopedic patients in her next role was even better. She enjoys speaking with patients and appreciating the giving and receiving of respect that she experiences among coworkers. Anita remembers a time when the campus had designated smoking areas. Oh my goodness. Employees cashed their checks at the payroll desk in the basement, and the elevators had operators. While there have been many changes during her tenure, Anita says she's thankful once again to see the mosaic, Extending Arms of Christ, featured in a central place. Anita still cherishes the satisfaction she felt after a major weather event when she and her coworkers surprised the inpatient patient staff with a surprise pizza lunch. Thank you for your service, Anita. Ruthie Armstrong. Ruthie is a unit administrative assistant in the Neuro ICU on Walter Tower 11. She started on Alkek 7 and spent some time on Main 4, but has spent most of her career on the neurology unit. Ruthie holds down this activity on the unit and helps by any means necessary to make sure everything is functioning well. She says the diversity of the staff has changed most since she started, especially the increase in male nurses, and she loves to see Houston Methodist footprint spread north, south, east, and west. Ruthie says the nurses and doctors seem to be getting younger and younger all the time. I know that feeling. Houston Methodist has always treated employees well, Ruthie says. From tuition reimbursement to bonuses to transfer and growth opportunities, Ruthie will always remember and treasure how close she was to her coworkers from the early years. Mostly, she will never forget how her peers stepped up and showed their support for her when her son was ill and sadly passed away. We're so grateful to you, Ruthie, and are honored you've chosen to work at Houston Methodist for so long. Angelina Babineau. Angie's a Food 2 coordinator in Food and Nutrition Services. Angie began working for Houston Methodist when she was still in high school, attending school in the mornings and working in the afternoons. She started out as a food service assistant and then worked her way through the ranks. Angie enjoys the various functions of her role, and she loves to see service going great for patients, staff, and visitors. She says all things change, like expansion and employee diversity, but the people Houston Methodist hires are always passionate about their work and want to do their best. Angie says Houston Methodist is like the sky filled with stars. Every time you look, there are more and different stars, but ours always stand out as the brightest. She recalls spending 2 weeks serving as an inpatient who was blind. The patient was very unhappy with the initial menu selections, so Angelina took time each day to make sure that patient had the food that she liked and took extra time to make the patient laugh and to build trust with her. Angie will also never forget Roberta Schwartz telling her she ran the to-go room like a boot camp and all the memories working with her management team during big events. Angie, thank you for being a star to us. Marilyn Bledsoe. Marilyn is a clinical nutrition assistant in Food and Nutrition Services. She started in the same department in the main building. She says she enjoys working in the call center and taking care of patients' dietary needs. Many of Marilyn's coworkers are like family to her. Computers have been the biggest change and the biggest challenge. She now enjoys clicking buttons over handwriting to process patient orders. Many things have changed these last 40 years, she says, except for the care Houston Methodist shows its employees and its patients. Marilyn has enjoyed the recent family days at NRG and the Houston Zoo, and she looks forward every year to her department's crazy sock competition. Thank you for your 40 years of service, Marilyn. Helene Boder. Helene is a unit administrative assistant on Main 7 Southwest. She began her career here as a patient care assistant, working weekends on the neurosurgery floor on Main 4 Southwest. Today, she's the liaison of the unit, helping things run seamlessly and being a point of contact for all kinds of needs. She says different units closing and moving, like Jones 11, have been big changes for her. Not much has stayed the same over the past 4 decades, and Helene says she appreciates that we work more efficiently. She most values the close friendship she developed with her former director and working with many people over the years. Thank you, Helene, for all that you do. Janice Brazel. Janice is an HPF's chart analyst in medical records. She started working her job with the Master File Index, which was a huge machine that stored indexed cards containing information on all Houston Methodist patients. Janice remembers having to manually turn the machine, and the trays kept getting stuck if the box was placed incorrectly. Computer systems have revolutionized her job function, which she says were just decoration at first, while they did everything manually. She says parking in a lot and taking a shuttle to the hospital are still the same. Janice will never forget the excitement of meeting some of the Astros and Texans players at all-employee events, taking pictures with them, and getting their autographs. She says all her years here have shown her the importance of serving and caring for others, and she's proud to work at one of the most renowned hospitals in the country. Congratulations on your anniversary, Janice. Cheryl Brigham. Cheryl is a patient rep in the pathology department. She joined the Methodist Hospital as a phlebotomist in laboratory medicine in the main building, where she worked for 13 years. Cheryl vividly remembers the period during 1993 and 1994 when Methodist's financial position wasn't what it is today, and she was caught up in 2 different rounds of layoffs that resulted in her being first displaced for a year and then transferred into a whole new job in registration in Smith 5 for several years. Cheryl was eventually recruited by her former boss to come back to laboratory medicine, where she originally started, and has been there ever since. Cheryl appreciates her experiences at Methodist because she's been able to meet a lot of people from all over the world and all walks of life. We asked Cheryl what has been the biggest change that she has witnessed, and she mentioned the cafeteria food selection because we have so very many options now, and how the Bertner side of the hospital was a circular driveway for drop-off and pickup, and it has changed dramatically. Of all of her fond memories at Houston Methodist, Cheryl says that it is the overall feeling that it is a great place to work. She appreciates all the bonuses and the different events and celebrations we have. She included this ceremony, which is a little different because of COVID this year. Cheryl said it requires a lot of hard work to recognize all that she and others have done as they have dedicated years of service to the hospital, and she appreciates that Methodist shows how much we care about our employees. Cheryl, we care about you. Congratulations. Edith Brocate. Edith is an insurance verifier in patient access services, where she's been a loyal team member since 1980. She says she's always enjoyed working with patients in person and over the phone from a long distance. The launch of the World Wide Web and performing work over the internet have changed her job the most for Edith. Staying true to Houston Methodist's eye care values has never changed for Edith. She says she has many memories of the good old days with her coworkers. She remembers being excited to have a free day off on her birthday every year. Thank you for your 40 years of service, Edith. Alma Burnett. Alma is a Scheduler 2 in Central Scheduling. She started as a general office clerk in the radiology department. While she's seen many people come and go, Alma's thankful for the many people who've been here for as long as she has. She considers them extended family. The biggest change Alma has witnessed in her time here is watching Houston Methodist grow from 3 buildings to its current size. The Houston Methodist employees' care for patients, particularly in her department, has remained rock solid. Alma's most memorable time was being called into the executive office to learn she was the grand prize winner for the United Way campaign. She won an all-expenses-paid trip to Las Vegas, where she and her mother stayed at the MGM Grand. Alma, thank you for your 40 years of service. Ampi Condelario. Ampi is a medical laboratory scientist in laboratory medicine. She began her career here as a medical technologist on Fondren 3 in the stat lab. Ampi says HMH is her home away from home, and she's enjoyed all the years of her life that she's spent here. She said she's worked with some amazing people, including her first supervisor and current coworkers and manager. The biggest change Ampi has seen is the empty lot between Main and Fondren buildings being occupied by the Dunn Tower. the main building still standing has been a nice constant for her. While they devastated the city, Ampy says Tropical Storm Allison and Hurricane Harvey bring her fond memories as she and her coworkers went into overdrive to help patients. She also remembers moving instruments during Allison and staying at the hospital for 4 days straight during Harvey. Thank you, Ampy, for that incredible dedication to our institution. Patricia Cernog. Patricia started here as a medical technologist in the Fondren and microbiology lab. Today, she's manager of pathology and genomic medicine. Patricia says she loves the variety and complexity of her lab's role, and she finds it very gratifying to tell a physician the cause of a patient's infection. She feels her team and her lab management peers have made her a better person. While lab processes have gone from manual to automation line, decreasing times, Patricia says the dedication of staff to patients has remained steady over the years. Patricia has worked every hurricane and natural disaster, and a pandemic, since she began here. She says times like these make her proudest, seeing the incredible dedication and passion of staff. Patricia says the friends she has made here are for life. Thank you, Patricia, for your 40 years of devotion. Juanita Davis. Juanita is a unit administrative assistant on Main 6 Southwest, managing phone calls, tending to patient needs, and keeping the unit in good shape. Juanita started her career here as a ward clerk, responsible for many of the same duties she has today. Juanita says the biggest change she's experienced is the dress code. Her work attire has gone from white uniforms with white stockings to scrubs now, to today's COVID-19 attire with face shields and masks to keep us safe. But what hasn't changed is the hard work Juanita and her peers put forth every day for our patients. Juanita says every day here creates another fond memory for her. Thank you, Juanita, for your service. Antoinette Earl. Antoinette is a Scheduler 2 in OR scheduling for Main 200, scheduling patients for interventional radiology and special procedures. She first started at Houston Methodist working in the kitchen in the main building. Antoinette says she loves her job. She says the 2 young ladies she works with, who've also been here for 40 years, are like family to her. Computer technology, advancements, especially the implementation of Epic, have been the biggest change for Antoinette. She says not much has stayed the same over the years, which she considers a good thing. Thank you for your dedication, Antoinette, and congratulations. Curtis Fletcher. Curtis is a plumbing technician 2 for facilities and maintenance. He started in building services as a locksmith, and half a year later joined the plumbing team. Curtis says he enjoys service calls and values the closeness he has with his coworkers. He says nothing is the same as it was 4 decades ago, and he is amazed at just how big the hospital campus has become. Curtis says from day one, he has felt like this is his home away from home. He deeply appreciates the friendships he has developed over the years. Thank you, Curtis, for your 40 years of service. Linda Fuller. Linda is an ROI Rep 2 in Health Information Management. She began her career in medical records at the Diagnostics Center. She's worked with patient medical records throughout her career and has been in ROI for many years. She's watched these charts change from paper to digital, which she says was quite a challenging transition. Linda says the people are still the same, focused on patients. She says each day is different here, and she's thankful that God has blessed her with so many people from so many different walks of life. Linda, we're so proud to have you here. Ruby Faye Green. Faye is a senior administrative assistant in quality and patient safety. She first started as a coordinator in patient accounting on Earl Street. She worked here through an agency for 90 days and then was asked to stay, and she says it was a true blessing. Faye says she enjoys the collaboration, the variety, the culture, and the challenge to always help others. She and her coworkers always support each other and work together to make their ideas a reality. The most change she's seen is technology development to enhance patient care. The institution's consistent values and the care given to millions of people have kept Faye here all these years. Faye looks back with fondness for the people she's worked with who have impacted her life. She really appreciates the gratitude that executives and leadership show by acknowledging and rewarding employees for their hard work. And she says the last 40 years have been pure bliss. You are a blessing to us, Faye, and we're grateful for you. Robert Grossman. Dr. Robert Bob Grossman is the co-founder of the Houston Methodist Neurological Institute and the former chair of our neurosurgical service at Houston Methodist Hospital. He's internationally known for his contributions to advancing the treatment of head and spinal cord injuries, Parkinson's disease, dystonia, and epilepsy. Dr. Grossman's a professor of neurosurgery in the Academic Institute for Houston Methodist and also with Weill Cornell Medical College. Dr. Grossman is a true giant of neurosurgery internationally and has contributed decades of his life to Houston Methodist. Dr. Grossman, Bob, you're a good friend. Thank you, and God bless. Valerie Hines. Valerie is an insurance verification representative to Inpatient Access Services. She started in the same department in the main building, verifying insurance and obtaining authorizations. She says she enjoys working with her coworkers who function as a true team. She says nothing stays the same here, and that's okay with her. Valerie says her time here has been delightful, and she hopes to spend another 10 years, we're gonna go for 50 with us. She says she remembers with fondness many department lunches and spending time with coworkers. Congratulations, Valerie, and we look forward to celebrating your 50-year anniversary with you. Lillian Kawaz. Lillian is an RN3 for inpatient dialysis. She originally worked on the renal, diabetic, and kidney transplant unit on Main 7 Southwest. Lillian began working the night shifts shortly thereafter so that she could attend evening classes at the University of St. Thomas to earn her master's degree. She worked in several departments over the years, and with each move, she says her Houston Methodist family has continued to grow. Lillian says Houston Methodist holds a special place in the history of our city and the world, and she's always been proud to tell people she works here. While the hospital system has grown and evolved, she says our mission has never changed. Lillian has made many friends and many memories, including 2 patients who she has remained close to since the 80s. We're proud you're one of us, Lillian. Carol Mars. Carol is an RN2 in the surgical liver ICU. She's worked her way through many roles at Houston Methodist. Her first job here was dietary supervisor on Fondren 12. And she says the biggest change she's seen over the years is the growth of the hospital and the new buildings that have expanded the campus. New technologies have also impacted her work and changed the way she has performed her various functions here. Carol says she has fond memories of the numerous people she has met, worked with, and cared for over the years. Thank you for your 40 years of service, Carol. Martha McCullough. Martha is a materials coordinator for supply chain management. Her first job was as an attendant in the main building, picking up equipment and delivering supplies to all areas. Martha says the people she works with are like family, and she cherishes all the moments they have celebrated, prayed, and even cried together. When it comes to change, she says COVID-19 tops the list by far. This virus has set a new normal for everyone. From the way we interact, work, and practice our religious beliefs, while people have come and gone, she says our values at Houston Methodist have always set us apart, defining our cultural services and relationships. Martha remembers potlucks in the old days when staff would bring food to share with colleagues, which led to lifelong friendships. Congratulations, Martha, and thank you for all you do. Catherine Means. Kathy's the Director of System Business Practices in our corporate office. She ensures that Houston Methodist maintains the highest business practice standards possible. Kathy's been described as the quintessential role model for diplomacy, discretion, and doing the right thing every time, even when no one is watching. Thank you for your 40 years of service, Kathy. Melvin Miles. Melvin is an expediter in the Central Transportation Department. He started out in building services in the Fondren Brown building and says he enjoys interacting daily with people from all different backgrounds and having colleagues with positive attitudes. All the new buildings have gone up since he began working here, have made for big change in Melvin's eyes and his job functions. He says nothing has stayed the same here, and that's a good thing. Melvin's strongest memory is helping a lady many years ago. She was confused and lost, and he helped her get to the right place. He says he still thinks about her today and wonders how she's doing. Thank you for your 40 years of compassionate service, Melvin. Sandra Sandy Mims. Sandy is an associate accountant in treasury management. She started in dietary when she was just 18 years old. In fact, she applied the day after her 18th birthday and has been here ever since. Sandy has worked for Houston Methodist the longest on her team, and she enjoys working alongside all of her team. She says she's thankful to have witnessed the organization grow and become one of the top-ranked hospitals in the industry. Sandy is thankful that the people at Houston Methodist have always been truly genuine and caring. She likes to look back at all the Houston Methodist memorabilia she's received and has enjoyed the many incentives and employee events. We're thankful to have you here, Sandy. Brenda Ned. Brenda started out as an attendant in central services where she did different jobs for almost 8 years. She eventually transferred to Fondren 4 where she trained to be a monitor tech. And when the hospital centralized telemetry monitoring on Dunn 10, she transferred there, where she still works today. During her long tenure, Brenda has witnessed several buildings going up, including Dunn, Smith, and Walter Tower. And one constant has been the love that employees have for their jobs and for their patients. Her fondest memories include the Christmas party held under a tent where Dunn Tower stands today, along with the red and green envelopes that were shared with employees. Brenda is grateful for the opportunity she's had to meet and work with genuine, caring people. And we're grateful for you, Brenda. Congratulations. Bobby Pittman. Bobby is a statistician in patient access services. She started as a file clerk in medical records. She says she enjoyed her roles contributing to patient safety by ensuring patient information is correct. Bobby enjoys working with the people in her department and across the hospital. She's watched new buildings added to the campus, but the spirit of Houston Methodist remains unchanged. Seeing how people help patients and peers here, always showing their eye care values, is something Bobby will always hold near and dear to her heart. Thank you, Bobby, for your commitment to our patients. Cynthia Pondio. Cynthia is an Epic Health Information Management Identity Analyst in IT. Cynthia started as a technical manual librarian, managing the IBM manuals the programmers used for the mainframe before books were digital. Her department was called Management Information Systems before IT was IT. From this to writing code to correcting charts in Epic, Cynthia says her job is heartfelt for her, and she feels proud to have the responsibility of keeping patients safe. She says she has made it her personal mission to track down every user error in Epic and make sure it's corrected. The implementation of Epic has been the most impactful change for Cynthia. The values of the organization and the people who work here have kept Cynthia at Houston Methodist all of these years. Her most memorable moment was when her son was born at Houston Methodist. She says nearly everyone in the IT department came to visit her when she was admitted. The unit nurses were confused at first, but when they learned it was her coworkers, many were in tears. Thank you for sharing your life with us, Cynthia. Gina Robinson. Gina is a clinical documentation specialist for CDMP. She started here as a nurse on Main 4 Southwest, serving neurosurgery patients, and worked her way through the emergency department and digestive diseases. She says she feels she grew into a diverse nurse with her various roles, learning and developing skills. Much has changed since Gina started working here, from the diversification of staff on the patient floor, to length of stay and transition to outpatient care, to new technology. She says the friendliness and helpfulness of Houston Methodist employees has remained steadfast. Gina appreciates most having the pleasure to work with many wonderful staff and physicians throughout her years here. It is our pleasure to work beside you, Gina. Cleophas Jose Sanchez. Cleophas is a food services specialist in food and nutrition services. He started as an elevator operator in Fondren Brown. Cleophas enjoys delivering food to patients, getting to know them, and considers them his own family. The biggest change he's witnessed is how services have improved for patients. He says what has stayed consistent is how we treat each other and all the patients with the utmost of respect. Cleophas loves his job and his coworkers and is proud to work for a prominent hospital. He says he's had the unique opportunity to learn other languages, such as Arabic and Italian, in order to best serve his patients. Thank you, Cleophas, for your dedication to our patients. Robert Scarlett. Robert is a phlebotomist too in outpatient laboratory medicine. His job was originally located in the main building, starting on the second floor and then moving to the basement for a stint. Robert says he enjoys interacting with all of the great patients and employees he meets, and he appreciates all he's learned about them. The most impactful change he's witnessed is Houston Methodist opening more hospitals, providing unparalleled health care around the city. But he said what hasn't changed is being the best hospital to work for in the city. Robert said he remembers drawing the blood of many rich and famous, including presidents, major sports figures. Thank you, Robert, for your 40 years of service. Barbara Skurlock. Barbara is a registration and billing representative in our outpatient laboratory department. She started her career here as a food service assistant in the food and nutrition department, and she says she's always worked with a lot of fun people, and it's been a pleasure coming to work every day. Barbara shared that nothing ever stays the same at Methodist. Everything has changed, especially computerized processes to make everything easier. That took some getting used to, though. Her favorite memory is meeting Barbara Jordan one year when she was still working in the kitchen. She went to Miss Jordan's room to deliver something to her and was so amazed at seeing Barbara Jordan in person that she can't even remember what she delivered. Barbara has enjoyed meeting so many different people in her career at Methodist and feels like her coworkers are just like her family. Congratulations on reaching 40 years with us, Barbara. Janera Seymour. Janera is a unit administrative assistant on Fondren 12. She started her career here as a nursing assistant, caring for babies in the main building. She says she enjoys the variety of things she does in her job and working with different people from different backgrounds. COVID-19 has presented the biggest changes and challenges in Janera's entire career. She says nothing has stayed the same, though, because the hospital is steadily evolving for the better. Two of Janera's favorite memories here were a surprise birthday party thrown by her manager, who ordered her favorite, Chinese food, and surprise flowers ordered by one of her coworkers in simple appreciation for her work. Janera, it's an honor to have you here. Shirai Solayaikt Murhi. Shirai is a phlebotomist in the Smith Outpatient Laboratory. Shirai says she's thankful to be part of a common goal at Houston Methodist to deliver service and become wiser every day. She's enjoyed watching the expansion of Houston Methodist in our community, working as one to serve others through our eye care values. Shirai enjoys the bond she has with her team and believes Houston Methodist is the best place to be, providing a smile or laugh, hope and faith to all. She's thankful for all the leaders who have crossed her path, always aiming to work together. Shirai says it has been a privilege to serve 40 years of her life here. She's grateful for those who embraced her, gave her comfort and hope, and were a good family to her. The privilege is ours, Shirai, and thank you for all that you do. Vicki Spann. Vicki's a food service specialist in food and nutrition services. She began her career here in the catering department. Vicki services conferences hosted by Houston Methodist. She enjoys helping people and seeing the successful outcomes of events, knowing they help foster advances in medicine. She remembers the days when catering events were held using fine china, and many physicians and staff smoked cigars and cigarettes in the meeting rooms. Vicki says that today, as much as ever, we serve our city well, and we have the best physicians and staff who are all passionate about making patients better. She most remembers the honor of meeting President George H.W. Bush and First Lady Barbara Bush, who invited her to watch the Texans game with them. Thank you for your service, Vicki. Melinda Tigner. Melinda's a unit administrative assistant in the main operating room. She began here as a unit secretary on Main 7 Southeast, serving cardiology and general medicine patients. Melinda enjoys keeping everything flowing in the operating room, helping staff anytime she can. She says she loves the staff and considers them family. The biggest change she's seen is the COVID-19 pandemic and how it's impacted everything we do. Melinda's love for Houston Methodist is something she says has never and will never change for her. Her favorite thing about the organization is how we celebrate holidays and how we always come together to help others in need. Thank you, Melinda, for being an important member of our Houston Methodist family. Kay Tolliver. Kay is a cashier for food and nutrition services. Kay started out on the tray line in patient services in 1980, and she's worked in many different stations and areas and is currently in the Blue Water Cafe, where she enjoys helping in all ways. Kay has watched the hospital grow and expand in many ways over the years. Kay remembers finishing high school on a Friday and asking her friend to join her at Houston Methodist the following Monday to look for a job. She's happy to have been here ever since. We're thankful you joined us and have spent your adulthood with us, Kay. Sue Weber. Sue is a senior transplant financial specialist for the Houston Methodist J.C. Walter Jr. Transplant Center. When Sue first started at Houston Methodist, she was in CRD billing at the Annex. In every position she's held, she's been involved in transplant. She says it's been such an honor to love her job and to play an integral role in helping patients receive a second chance at life. In 1980, Houston Methodist was only performing kidney transplants, and the department had 2 employees. Today, Sue is surrounded by more than 200 coworkers who play a role in the transplant journeys of patients in need of heart, lung, liver, kidney, pancreas, and all the combinations of organs. Sue was in the very first group of employees to receive an iCare award from former CEO Ron Girardo. She says it was a tremendous honor, and she still loves to brag about her gold badge, as well she should. Thank you, Sue, for your commitment to our patients. Phyllis Williams. Phyllis is an RN clinical outcomes specialist in quality care management and performance improvement. She actually started her time at Houston Methodist in 1972 when she was a student LVN in cardiology at the Annex building. Phyllis feels her work in abstracting patient data is important and enjoyable because she's contributing to Houston Methodist being one of the best in the country. She says she works with the greatest group of professionals who adhere to our iCare values and have become like family to her. Phyllis says Houston Methodist remains a very caring hospital to employees and the community, providing world-class care. Phyllis was part of the first group of clinicians to perform coronary angioplasties in the 1980s. She didn't realize at the time how monumental it was. She says she's grateful for the skills she has built from that opportunity. Thank you, Phyllis, for your 40 years of service. Sonia Williams. Sonia is an inpatient PT/OT tech. She started in the main kitchen dietary department. Sonia says she's always had great job opportunities here, working in several departments. She's seen significant change through numerous building expansions and incredible employee growth. But one thing remains the same for her: working together as a team. Sonia's always enjoyed learning and working hard alongside her coworkers. She says she enjoys the fun times they share together at department and hospital celebrations. Thank you, Sonia, and congratulations to you. Mary Ann Young. Mary is a blood bank specialist in laboratory medicine at Houston Methodist Sugar Land. Her first job was as a phlebotomist. During her career, she's been a blood bank staff member, a new employee trainer, an MT student and pathology resident, a blood bank faculty trainer, and more. Mary worked at HMH for 22 years and has worked the last 18 as a blood bank specialist at Houston Methodist Sugar Land. She's witnessed new technologies that help make her department better, and she's also seen how innovation has changed her job. Mary says it's this desire to always improve that helps us truly lead medicine. Mary says that one constant has been our values, as our iCare values have been practiced by employees for her entire tenure. She says she's been married to Houston Methodist longer than she's been married to her loving husband, Tom, 40 years versus 38 years. They met while studying at the School of Medical Technology in 1979. He received his 40-year recognition last year. Some of Mary's fond memories, including meeting Dr. Michael DeBakey at blood bank meetings, as well as Ella Fondren. She also remembers being moved aside by security one day as former President Richard Nixon was being shown around the hospital. Thank you for your 40 years of service, Mary. Also celebrating 40 years of service are Loretta Anderson, Food Services Assistant, HMH, Alma Nubia Cespedes, Project Specialist in the Physician Organization, Cheryl Bates Grass, Mental Health Tech, HMH, Psychiatry Unit, Janie Jackson, Mental Health Tech, HMH, Psychiatry Unit, Kaylin Moses James, Pre-Transplant Specialist, HMH Liver Transplant Unit, Deetria Jones, Food Service Specialist, HMH, Linda McMillan, Team Leader, Food and Nutrition, HMH, Leanne O'Donnell, Registered Nurse, HMH, AOD Cath Lab, Joseph Ross, Unit Administrative Assistant, HMH, Main 3 Northwest, Brenda Thomas, Registered Nurse, HMH, Labor and Delivery Done 6 West, Kevin Venters, Medical Laboratory Assistant, HMH Anatomical Pathology, Lynette Walls, Clinical Nutrition Assistant, HMH, Spellman Warner Jr., Maintenance Technician, HMH Facilities Central Shop, and Janice Warren, Registered Nurse, HMH MICU. Please join me in congratulating our 40-year honorees. We will now honor those employees celebrating 45 years of service. This group began working at the Methodist Hospital around 1975. The 70s were a decade of growth for the hospital as we opened 4 new buildings, including the Neurosensory Center, Skurlock Tower, Alkek, and Fondren. In world news, the Vietnam War officially ended on April 30th as South Vietnam officially surrendered to North Vietnam, ending the 20-year conflict. In sports, the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Minnesota Vikings 16-6 to win Super Bowl IX. Running back Franco Harris was the game's MVP, rushing for 158 yards and a touchdown. In entertainment, Jaws was the #1 box office movie of the year, grossing more than $260 million. Now let's recognize our 45-year honorees. We'll begin with Kimberly Adams. Kimberly is a senior imaging representative at the Kirby Breast Center. Her first job here was as a patient escort. Kimberly performs several functions, making sure patients experience seamless care. She enjoys working with her coworkers to keep a smooth workflow. Kimberly says even the 3 buildings that originally stood on the campus look nothing like they do today, not to mention the new buildings we've added. Even though we have many more employees, she says the commitment to our eye care values has not changed from the beginning. Kimberly most remembers the DeBakey days, seeing him in his white coat and scrub hat with his entourage following him through the hallways, clearly trying to absorb as much from him as possible. We're thankful you're with us, Kimberly. Teresita Aranda. Teresita is a staff nurse in the Dunn 3 operating room. She started as a staff nurse in the main operating room. Teresita enjoys teaching new employees and taking care of patients. She says she has good teamwork in her department, which is due to great leadership. Teresita's seen many innovations in the OR, from major open surgeries to the development of minimally invasive robotic and endovascular procedures. Computer charting and cell phones have changed things too. She says Houston Methodist's commitment to providing high-quality patient care has never wavered. Teresita says she will always remember Tropical Storm Allison and how everyone worked together to get the hospital back on its feet. She'll always cherish knowing and working with some of the best surgeons, like Dr. John Overstreet, Dr. Paul Jordan, and Dr. George Noon. Thank you, Teresita, for your dedication. Manuel Bari. Manuel is a maintenance electrician for facilities. He started at Houston Methodist in 1975 as an orderly and later became a lab clerk before he earned his electrician's license. Manuel has had a unique perspective working directly with patients at first and now serving them as he helps ensure that the hospital runs well physically. He says the biggest change he's seen is the construction of magnificent buildings for patient care and research, and the changes that were made to our facilities after Tropical Storm Allison. What hasn't changed, he says, is our focus on providing the best quality of care and living our eye care values. Manuel is proud to work where his peers are like family, working together for the community. Manuel says his fondest memory is meeting his wife Raquel, who was a nurse here, and retired after her own 40 years of service. They raised 2 kids together while working at Houston Methodist. Thank you for your 45 years of service, Manuel, and tell Raquel hello for us. Sharon Donahue. Sharon is a perioperative resource nurse in the main operating room. She has spent her entire career in the main OR, starting as a student and working part-time. Sharon was an OR nurse for most of her career and made the change to her current role just a few years ago. She enjoys keeping the OR running smoothly and efficiently and says she is surrounded by an awesome manager and staff. Sharon has watched building after building go up around her while in main building. The Houston Methodist name has gone through several changes since Sharon has been here, but she says the hospital's commitment to being the best has remained steadfast. Tropical Storm Allison is the most memorable for Sharon. She remembers carrying patients down the stairs in chairs and all employees working together to keep patients safe and well cared for. She also remembers being on a hospital baseball league where she and her team were called the Cut-Ups. Thank you for being a constant here, Sharon. Teresa Lynn Mueller. Teresa has been a staff nurse in our float pool since 1975, caring for patients in nearly every unit. She says the biggest change she's witnessed is the advancement of technologies that make diagnosis, treatment, and medication administration faster and safer. Being surrounded by educated, hardworking, honest, and compassionate people is what Teresa says has remained consistent all of these years. Recently, when Teresa was leaving work, she encountered a man who was ill, and within a few minutes of talking to him, several employees stopped to see how they could help. Teresa received high praises and says, "This is just what we do." Thank you for all you do for our patients, Teresa. Wade Poulard. Wade is a patient nursing assistant in the OPC 18 OR. Wade actually started at Houston Methodist before 1975. He worked in the housekeeping department for a couple of months before he was drafted to the United States Army, where he served 2 years as a medic. Thank you for your service. When he returned to Houston, he applied for another job at Houston Methodist and was hired as a patient nursing assistant the very same day. No matter his tasks for the day, Wade said he does whatever is necessary for the care and safety of patients. He said it is amazing to look at the new buildings, the technology, the equipment, the tests and procedures that we can do today compared to when he started his career. But Houston Methodist has never broken away from putting the patient first, he says. Wade values the camaraderie he shares with the nurses and doctors and is proud to own the title cast technician, being known for cutting off patient casts before surgery. Thank you, Wade, for your service at Houston Methodist and for your service for our country. William Rye. William began working at Houston Methodist in the housekeeping department in the main building. Today, he's an electrician, serving many more buildings on our campus. The growth of Houston Methodist, both here in the medical center and across the city, has been the biggest change for William. William says he's always strived to remain consistent, coming to work every day on time, in uniform, and ready to do a great job. Working with coworkers through difficult situations is what William has appreciated most through his years. He says he's always had good teamwork with good leadership. Thank you for your 45 years of service, William. Carolyn Waddington. Carolyn is a perioperative practitioner in the OPC 18 OR. She started as a student nurse at the Annex on Earl Street, and she rotated through all departments and remembers helping patients at the Annex travel by bus to the main building for surgery. Carolyn has worked with surgery patients since shortly after she completed nursing school, and she says she has loved it. She says watching the transformation of services from inpatient to outpatient has been remarkable. She says if there's one thing to count on, Houston Methodist will always grow and always change. While it made a recent move, Carolyn is glad to see the outstretching arms of Christ mural has been preserved. Carolyn says she's gained some very close friends over her work life here, and she knows she could reach out to them for anything if she ever needed it. Thank you for your loyalty, Carolyn. Andy Wyatt. Andy is a senior technician for facilities. He started as a mechanic in the Lundy Central plant at Main Building. He says he enjoys working with his supervisor and manager on different building projects across the campus. Andy has watched the campus grow and says everything has changed over the past 4 decades. He says all the years he has been here have been great, and they're only getting better. Andy, we are thankful to have shared the last 45 years with you also. Also celebrating 45 years of service, Reynaldo Batinga, electrician at HMH. Please join me in congratulating our 45-year honorees. And now we get to our last group of honorees who've been with us for 50 years. In 1970, Dr. Michael DeBakey was featured on the cover of the April issue of Life magazine, alongside Dr. Denton Cooley. And in national news, Apollo 13 ran into trouble on the way to the moon, and with the help of multiple teams at NASA, the crew was able to return safely back to Earth. In entertainment, the Beatles officially broke up after Paul McCartney announced that he was leaving the band, and Let It Be, the band's final album, was released a few weeks later. In sports, the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Minnesota Vikings 23-7 to win Super Bowl IV. They would have to wait another 50 years before winning their second Lombardi Trophy earlier this year. And now let's recognize our 3 50-year honorees. Mary Ginny Baird. Ginny is a nursing education specialist for the Center for Nursing Research, Education, and Practice. She started out as a staff nurse in the Fondren Brown operating room and says she has most appreciated all of the opportunities she has had to learn and grow throughout her career. Her favorite job function is practical teaching, from CPR to infection control to codes. The sheer size of today's Houston Methodist campus leaves Ginny in awe after starting here with only 2 buildings. The feeling of family remains the same today as when she started, and Ginny appreciates the overall friendliness of Houston Methodist employees. Her favorite memory is traveling to Istanbul, Turkey, to educate the nurses there on our program. Thank you, Ginny, for all you have done for the last 50 years. Ola Duraso. Ola is a patient care assistant pathfinder in infusion for the Cancer Center. She started out as a nurse aide in Main 3 Southwest on the OB-GYN unit. Ola has always enjoyed working with physicians and coworkers to do anything she can to help patients. With a change from paper to computer, Ola has found it gratifying to see her patients eager to learn more about their conditions and treatments. She says things around here have changed dramatically over the years, with buildings everywhere she looks. Ola most enjoys being able to talk to patients and greeting them when they come in for care or to visit. Thank you for keeping our patients at the center of all you do, Ola. Melva Perdido. Melva just retired from her position as a registered nurse in the Main 8 department at HMH after reaching her 50th year with Houston Methodist. Melva's first job at Methodist was as a staff nurse in the labor and delivery department on the 3rd floor of the main building. She says she enjoyed everywhere she has worked at Methodist, including the Fondren CVICU, as head nurse of renal and endocrinology, in post-CV surgery, and at one time as the oncology hematology manager. Melva says she enjoyed the camaraderie, the feeling of being part of a family at work, the excellence of the care and compassion for the patients. The biggest change she recalls in her time at Methodist included the expansion of the buildings in the medical center and opening so many hospitals in the Houston area. Melva is proud to have been a part of the #1 hospital in Texas and the world. Of all of her fond memories, Melva says the biggest is the culture and how as soon as someone is hired, the first thing they learn about is our iCare values. She says the iCare values make Methodist a better place to work, which is good for our patients, employees, and leadership. The iCare values separate us from all the other hospitals. Even though she's retired, Melva considers Methodist her second home. No matter what, she is staying in touch with her fellow nurses, getting together every other month to talk about the good memories of working together at Houston Methodist. Melva, thank you for all that you have done. Congratulations to all of our wonderful honorees this year. I can't thank you enough for your incredible dedication to Houston Methodist and most importantly to our patients. You are the foundation on which leading medicine was built, and we couldn't do it without you. I hope to see all of you, even the 50-year award winners, in 5 years for our next service awards, next time in person. Thank you, and God bless.